Today we are still in the Milwaukee area. We have come to the town of Greendale, suburb of Milwaukee, and this is St. Stephen the Martyr Lutheran Church.
Yes.
And this organ here is relatively new to the church, correct?
It is. So it has a little bit of a fascinating history.
You know, but it's not new to you.
It's not new to me, no. So I grew up in the Norwood Park neighborhood of Chicago, and down the street from my house was Norwood Park Lutheran Church. We were not parishioners at Norwood Park Lutheran. However, when I was getting really serious about studying the organ, about 7th grade, and needing a place to practice every day, my church was quite a ways away. I knew the organist and the pastor there, and they graciously just gave me a key to this church, and it contained this wonderful Casavant organ, which really made for an ideal practice organ. The key action is, as you would expect from Casavants of this era, just, primo. Great pedal board, everything sort of to spec. Not a whole lot to mess around with on this organ for a creative young organist to get distracted by. And the room there was really dry, and this sort of neo-Baroque sound really did not hide any sins. So a perfect practice organ. I'm eternally grateful to this church in Chicago that let me have daily access to this instrument.
And it's a lesson for churches and organists everywhere. If somebody wants to come in and play,
Exactly.
give them access. You never know who they're going to turn into at some point. Well, you said of this era. What year are we talking about here?
1976. And so Casavant in the 70s, we're all familiar with Moeller Artistes, and Wix Fugaras or Fuga Deluxes. And let's see, what other kinds out there? There's all sorts of different companies came up with stock models.
Camp Martinis.
Oh, Camp Martinis, yeah. Schlicker had, I don't know if they named them, but they certainly had stock model organs. Well, this is obviously a way to keep costs down. You have to reinvent the wheel. And so Casavant got into this game rather late after all the other builders had done this, and they produced a really fine series of stock model organs that you can find all over the United States. In fact, I just played a funeral at a Catholic church on a stock model from 1976. It was a little smaller than this, and it's really versatile. This organ, as we'll find out, is really a simple design. You might wonder why we're coming to this church, other than the fact that, I have a connection to this organ. But the reason we're coming here is to really talk about how they packed in a really versatile organ in a small size. So anyway, this is one of the larger of the stock model organs. I believe it's 23 ranks. And so to finish the story about Norwood Park Lutheran, sadly the congregation dwindled and closed in, I believe, 2018. So the church was purchased by a non-denominational church that did not have use for the organ. They were going to gut the interior and do this. It was a dry A-frame building, and this organ was actually enchambered on two sides of the chancel. And it had some facade pipes. The church that bought the building said, "We really love the facades, so you can take the organ, buy it, but the facades stay." The problem was that the facades contained the first, 25 notes or so of the 16-foot or the 8-foot principal on the grate and the 8-foot principal in the pedal. So St. Stephen the Martyr was looking. They had a little Wix stock model organ, and they were looking to upgrade, and this organ was a wonderful fit. So Ericksen Christian and Associates of Chicago moved the organ here. Now, because the organ was entombed at Norwood Park in a really dry acoustic, Casavant voicers pushed and pushed and pushed this neo-Baroque organ. So everything was overblowing, and it still made a nice sound in the room. But when it came here, it was in this much smaller space and much liver space. It was way too much. So Ericksen Christian, in addition to restaining the console, revoiced the entire organ to really sort of tone it down a little bit without breaking the character of the organ. So the church was left with the problem of what to do with the missing facade. And that's where the Reuter Organ Company came in. J.R. Nuttall designed a case in the spirit of Casavant, but also to fit this particular space. It's really, really well done, and the stain matches the pews just perfectly. And coming in here, I would not know that Reuter built this case. It looks just like the Casavant did.
Exactly what you would expect. So, all right. Well, you said almost 23 ranks, you think?
23 ranks,
So,
yeah.
Well, let's just start with the Great Division.
Sure.
Because we have that principle out here in the facade. And
Right.
Let's just listen to some of it. Tell me what you got.
So it has an 8-foot principal that goes all the way down to low C, kind of a luxury on stock model organs, you know. Some of these artistes and things like that, they do calisthenics to make it work. So I'll just play up the compass. So this part is Reuter pipework that they voiced, and then I think the rest is Casavant. Really wonderful job melding the Reuter pipework and the Casavant. You actually have no idea where it
Right, it
cuts
blends
in
really
and
well. And that sound has a little bit of an edge to it, but it's not overwhelming in this room or not too bright.
Yeah, so I'll play a little bit more on it. Nice singing sound, a little on the fluty side,
Almost, yeah.
as you would expect, and that's sort of a sign of the times in the 70s. Ericksen Christian Dean did as much as he could not to make it super fluty, but it's a battle. It's a really tricky thing to work with open toe voicing to try to make it softer.
So yeah, if they had to bring it in,
But a lovely singing principle. Let me sing, and then we have 4-foot octave, and this is all independent. Here it is with the 8. I'll put something in the pedal. Two-foot principal. I'll just add it into the chorus. So that principle has been toned down quite a bit.
I was going to say, because I was expecting the 4-foot to have a bit more impact, but the 2-foot is actually where a lot of the brightness in that chorus. Not as fluty as the 8 and the 4.
Right.
So, okay.
And we have a principal scaled sesquialtera that starts at tenor C. I actually love the sesquialtera. It's a really clever design choice for a few reasons. One is that you can use it both with the flues. I mean, here it is with the 8-foot roar flute and the Spitz flute. I'll put something in the swell. You can even use it on your Schmuckadik. That's without the 2-foot. So nice. I mean, it's a little edgy, but I happen to like principal scaled sesquialteras. I like that. It's the inner German Lutheran in me, you know, just that edginess to it. And then you can use it as a sort of a mounted cornet to accompany hymns. Nice and rich.
Adds a lot of color to the principal chorus.
And then you can use it in contrast with the trumpet. It'll hold its own. So in absence of a second reed in the great, you know, that acts as the reed. And then if you really want to get cooking in the chorus, play, you know, some North German stuff. Here it is without the trumpet. See how versatile that sesquialtera is?
It's amazing, yeah.
So, really clever design choice. Again, these Casavants were, for stock models, I mean, they're really all stock models are well thought out. There's a reason the artiste sold a gazillion.
Right. Well, you want to find a good idea before you make a bunch of them.
Right, exactly. So it does have a rather strident four-rank mixture, and this is one that Dean had to work very hard to tone down from Norwood Park, because they pushed it as far as it would go. And we're here recording in the evening, and there's obviously no one in the room, but I played the dedication recital of this organ, and when it was full, the mixture really receded. Again, with the chorus without the sesquialtera.
It's bright, but it's not overwhelming. Certainly,
No.
he did a good job of getting it to blend with the ensemble there and fill the room. It certainly does that. But yeah, I can imagine if you had a boisterous crowd in here, you'd want that extra brightness and that extra color.
So there's a rather voluptuous 8-foot roar flute for 1976. Here we go. I love this roar flute because it has it's warm, but it has nice articulation.
Yeah, but not too much.
Right.
And it's louder than I thought it was going to be.
And of course, it contrasts with the gedect. I'll just kind of start mixing up stops here. And the swell has a metal gedect. Here it is in contrast with the roar flute. Equal volume, but different character.
Okay.
And then a lovely Spitz flute that really just, you can use it as a solo stop and then in ensemble. Again, really nice articulation.
Yeah.
Here it is with the 8.
It's more subtle than I was expecting for
Exactly.
a 1976, but it still blends really well and it's still really clear.
Here's the 2-foot just to complete it.
It works.
Very nice. So then, moving up to the swell, I already showed you the gedect. Here's a Gims horn. You have to forgive me for that flub note there. And it really works as a nice accompanimental stop for the grate. So I could, use it with, for say, the 4-foot Spitz flute. Right? Or even the 8-foot roar flute. the 8-foot principal.
It stands up to it really well.
So this gemshorn's nice because it's not overly strident like a viola orchestra. Not that they would be doing that in the 70s, but it's a nice chameleon stop. It's a nice utilitarian stop for all these accompanimental opportunities on the grate. But it does pair well, and I should hasten to add that it has a Haskell bass to fit in the swell box. Here's the Voix Celeste, which is tenor C. So very similar to the Gemshorn. I'll put them together. And you can hear a pretty effective swell box for 1976. Get better than that from that vintage.
Okay.
So then a 4-foot principal, which is really helpful. And this swell, like a lot of 2 manual organs, straddles the line between a swell division and a positive. So the principal really helps with the positive side of things. Here it is in contrast with the octave on the grate. Quite a bit more mellow, although it could be where you and I are at right now, because the swell is speaking that way.
It's got a little more of a skinnier
Sure.
scale as you'd expect, but it's still less than I was expecting. It's more
Right.
mellow than I was expecting.
So again, that makes a great accompanimental sound, the 8s, and then the 4 for that sesquialtera.
Okay.
And then a Scharf. No swell division is complete without a Scharf, after all. So here.
Yeah,
Nice.
full sound there.
And again, you can use it as a cap. Here's the great chorus with the Scharf.
Really brightens it up.
Then an 8-foot trumpet, which is, of course, half length to fit in the swell. Sounds like it.
But that range sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Nice warm round sound with a lot of brightness.
And another really clever thing, of course, this now has a Syndine system here with the touch screen and all. Also, I hasten to add, speaking of pullouts here, you know what this is? Can you guess? Can you guess what this
I thought it
is?
was maybe a card reader. I couldn't tell what you would
card
need to
reader?
stick onto it.
Well, let's
it's
find
big.
out. Let's find out.
Oh,
You cup holder. You have a cup?
I don't have one
All
handy.
right,
no.
we'll
I
take a
did
picture and you see.
not bring one in.
So this is a genuine Audi part.
Oh, okay.
So you know, and Dean and company thought that would be very handy.
That's amazing. I'll have to start suggesting those for all new installations.
I'm sure all of you can add your opinions about drinks at the console, something I get a little nervous about myself. Anyway, so there was originally a tremulant in the swell division, but this swell division does not call for a tremulant. There's absolutely nothing I would ever trim on it.
Okay.
Maybe the 4-foot principal if you were playing some Baroque thing. So if anything, the trem really needs to be on the grate to work with the flues and the sesquialtera there.
Is it just removed entirely then?
So they were like, well, this is still in the organ, but they thought it would make for a much better supercoupler,
Ah, I see.
which it really does. Here's the trumpet. And of course, you know, we can now do strings.
Yeah, all right.
Couldn't do that at Norwood Park. Another clever thing about this organ, that's why I got off, when it had limited, guts in the console, it just had a few pistons. It did include a swell to grade 16, which was really clever because you could bring the mixture down at 16 and then you get a more mild mixture. Instead, if you wanted to avoid using the nice, much gentler chorus. And then, of course, nice, you could put the chorus on the grate and add the trumpet at 16. I'll tell you that.
No, that's a convenient little thing there.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it adds hugely to the versatility of this organ.
And we have some independent pedal stops.
We do. We have an independent 16-foot, or 8-foot, wish we had a 16-foot principal, but 8-foot, and again, half of this is Reuter. And then a 4-foot octave, also independent. Then a 16-foot fagot. You're not going to mistake that for a Kimball.
Well, no.
Agreed, for sure.
That adds some growl and some brightness to the...
Yeah, I mean, again, here it is with the chorus, and you can hear.
Adds a little grumble down there.
A little grumble. And then there's a 16-foot sub bass, which is extended to 8. So that is a huge sound. And at Norwood Park, they put the board in back of the case, facing the wall, the opposite wall. So it had to hit the back wall, move around the case to get out. And so the curator of that organ for the longest time was a man named Kurt Roederer, and he just juiced this thing to kingdom come to try to overcompensate for that. And he even moved it at some point to try to get it out of the chamber. But this organ virtually had no bottom at Norwood Park, and now same pipes, don't touch them, and they moved into this nice reverberant space, and
it's amazing.
Good heavens. So
it shows you placement and design, and plays such a factor.
It does.
Just sticking the pipes in a room isn't necessarily going to end in success. So
right. And one last little feature here that makes it really nice and versatile is, this trumpet can be coupled to the pedal at 4, so you get your little chorus reed. A lot of Bach and Baroque stuff calls for that.
In there.
Yep.
Okay.
So I think we've litigated every stop on this organ.
It is an amazing little instrument. It's always, I love seeing well-designed small instruments and seeing how they're put together, and they've done a great job with this one. And it's been, loved since then, since its original installation, a bit for this room, and it just works really well.
Yeah, I would much rather sit at an organ like this every day, which I did. 23 ranks, but really thoughtfully designed 23 ranks than a 16-rank organ that makes no sense to me.
And it's going to be much easier as a student. You have only this small palette of colors, but you've got to figure out how to use them to their best effect. So it seems like it probably worked.
Yeah. So kudos to Casavant. I still make great organs, of course, and a proud POPA member. And But this is a great vintage organ. So if you see a 1976 Casavant, don't poo-poo it immediately. Give it the time of day. You might be surprised.
The case has a door in the side that gives us very easy access, and the first thing we see is that pedal Borden, which is standing here freely, able to speak into the room very easily. And right in front of that is the great chest. We see the principal and the roar flute, our upper work. Here it is from the other side. We have a diatonic layout. And apparently they couldn't get all of the facade pipes from the original organ into this facade because there are some tubed off here that are behind the facade, right next to some mitered reeds. Here's a look at the mixture, and then to the right is the pedal octave, which is on a chest right in front of the swell. We can see the swell box there behind it. So let's see how close it is to that swell. There's peeking underneath the swell, we see the swell motor, some of the relay, and the regulator. It's kind of hard to get into the swell, so we're just going to go through the swell shades, and we see the Gemshorn Celeste, the principal, our mixture, our Schaeffer there. There's our trumpet. And in the back is the Gemshorn. The flute is there, the Borden is between the reed and the Gemshorn. You can see the caps there near the ceiling. So look at the mouths of those pedal pipes. Nice and shiny. And we can see the reed, those fractional length mitered reeds back there, and the tubing for the facade. Andrew, thank you for bringing me here. I didn't know what we were going to find tonight. This trip to Milwaukee has so far been interesting, and I'm seeing some things I've seen before, but also some brand new things, and that's really exciting. So thank you for making this happen today.
Yeah, and I wanted to thank, too, the people here at St. Stephen the Martyr Church in Greendale, especially Tabitha Moldenauer for her hospitality. She's a great champion of this instrument and was a driving force behind getting it here. So thank you, Tabitha, and everyone here.
Well, it's been a long day, and so we're going to turn in soon, but we'll have more videos coming out. We're still here in the Milwaukee area for a few more days, so there'll be more videos. So make sure you stay tuned. Click the little subscribe button and click the bell so you get notifications when new videos are out. And as always, remember, until those videos are out, you can get streaming classical organ music on our 3 stations, organlive.com, Positively Baroque, and the Organ Experience. Thank you again, Andrew, and thank you to our friends at APOBA, the Associated Pipe Organ Builders of America, who helped make this possible. There's a link down to them in the description. Down there, you can also find a link to the specification of the organ and a website for the church. And yeah, that's it. That's us. We're going to see you in our next video. I'm Brent Johnson.
I'm Andrew Schaeffer.
Thanks for watching.